Catching a natural disaster on film is almost always a rare occurrence, especially when the disaster strikes with little to no warning. Earthquakes are a perfect example of this. Thankfully, we have CCTV cameras all over the globe, constantly filming every waking moment. It's footage like this that makes you appreciate life and respect the power of Mother Nature. From an airport in the Philippines to a home in Alaska, here are 5 powerful earthquakes caught on camera. One of the most geologically active areas in the world can be found in the islands that lie between the Pacific and Indian Oceans, specifically the countries of Indonesia and the Philippines. In and around the Philippines, there are 5 separate faults, all of which can produce earthquakes and even trigger volcanoes. It is one of the most active and dangerous areas on Earth and has been the site of many of the world's deadliest earthquakes, some of which have triggered enormous tsunamis. In 2019, on the Philippine island of Luzon, a powerful 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck. With a shallow epicenter that was located just 2 kilometers northeast of the city of Castillejos, it did quite a lot of damage. With so many faults in the area, it is yet to be determined which fault was responsible for generating this quake. However, it was strong enough to topple a few buildings and knock out power to much of the region. 18 people lost their lives, 3 went missing, and 256 people were injured. The CCTV footage taken from various locations at the Clark International Airport shows the extent of the shaking. As you can see, passengers and employees are going about their day as normal when suddenly everything starts to shake back and forth very violently, sending people scrambling in every direction. Workers dove under the desks, while travelers ran for the nearest exits to get out of the building. Luckily, the airport stayed intact and no one was injured. However, it is crazy to see exactly how violent everything was thrown about. What really brings things into perspective is seeing that this was only a 6.1 magnitude earthquake. While powerful, it is not even close to being the strongest. We all know Nepal for being the country with the tallest mountains found anywhere on Earth. This is because the country rests at the edge of a huge tectonic plate that is constantly forcing the land higher and higher as 2 land masses are constantly pushing against each other. On one hand, this means that the mountains are getting taller by the year. On the other hand, it means that this area is very prone to tectonic activity and earthquakes. In April of 2015, a massive 7.9 magnitude earthquake struck Nepal and southwest China's Tibet Autonomous Region. Incredible CCTV video was taken at a border inspection station in Gyeongsang, Tibet. From the onset, we can see everything start to sway back and forth. Within a few seconds, it gets really bad. Things go from swaying to outright shaking. As the earthquake continued, dust overtook the area from a few partially collapsed buildings. You can even see bits of debris fall onto the building that the camera is attached to. Around 20 seconds into the video is when you get a truly incredible glimpse of the power of a 7.9 magnitude earthquake. A total of 18 people lost their lives in Gyeongsang when a few buildings collapsed. However, the epicenter was many miles away, and therefore the town was spared the worst of the damage. In total, across the various regions impacted by this natural event, over 600,000 structures were damaged or destroyed. As can be imagined, a state of emergency was declared immediately following the quake. Quickly, the United Nations created a fund to help the country. The goal was to raise $415 million for relief. Within just 2 weeks, more than $330 million had been provided. Still, the total cost associated with this event is estimated between $5 and $10 billion. In terms of the United States, we most commonly associate earthquakes with the state of California. We think about the images of the San Andreas Fault, as well as the numerous earthquakes in places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. However, there is one other place that not only receives a lot of earthquakes, but they're just as powerful. The only reason we don't hear as much about them is because this area does not have a dense population. We are, of course, talking about the state of Alaska. In 2018, the city of Anchorage, Alaska, was hit with a magnitude 7.1 earthquake. That day, a family was enjoying their time at home when their house started shaking violently. Their home security cameras were rolling when the earthquake struck. Immediately, the father knew exactly what to do and went into full parent mode. He took his child and immediately sprinted outside, away from the danger of any falling debris. Soon after, his wife rushed through the house and joined them outside. They were very visibly shaken, but everyone came out of it unscathed. The only loss were a few belongings in the house that fell from high up. A portion of Alaska actually sits along a very geologically active line that surrounds the Pacific Ocean called the Ring of Fire. It is where the majority of the world's volcanoes are located. However, aside from being volcanic, it is ripe with tectonic activity as well. This line actually goes through the southern part of Alaska, as well as stretching the entire length of the Aleutian Islands. These are the areas in the state where the vast majority of people live. It includes cities such as Anchorage and Juneau. Although there were no deaths or any severe damage reported from this earthquake, it was definitely a terrifying experience for the residents. Throughout the day, there were over 80 aftershocks of various magnitudes recorded. 3 of them were over 5.0 magnitude in strength. It really kept people nervous that another, even stronger quake was coming. Luckily, that wasn't the case. On Tuesday, January 12, 2010, a powerful magnitude 7.0 earthquake struck the nation of Haiti, approximately 16 miles away from the capital city, Port-au-Prince. The devastation from this disaster was immense. Hundreds of thousands lost their lives, and over 250,000 residences were destroyed. The sheer scale of the destruction is hard to comprehend, but can be partially blamed on the country's lack of adequate building code. CCTV footage taken at the presidential palace shows us what went on there during the quake. Various parts of the building can be seen crumbling as government employees rush to shelter. The footage starts outside, where debris can be seen at the bottom of the screen. The next few shots are taken inside the building, where walls and pieces of the ceiling can be seen crumbling and falling to the ground. The video ends with a cloud of dust rushing the camera. Pictures of the presidential palace after the quake show the true extent of the damage. This natural disaster made news around the world, and quickly many nations rushed in to help, providing assistance, food, water, and support. It was a time when the entire planet seemingly stopped and came together to do whatever was needed. Despite this, though, recovery efforts have been slow. In the years that followed the quake, international interest and support dwindled, albeit not entirely. As of 2017, the United Nations reported that there are still some 2.5 million Haitians in need of help. Anyone who knows the history of the United States, especially in terms of natural disasters, will definitely know about the terrible things that the city of San Francisco has overcome. Of all the places in America, this city is especially vulnerable, as it sits in ranges of 3 separate tectonic fault lines. In the early 1900s, the city had to endure one of the most powerful and most costly earthquakes to hit a major metropolitan area in recorded history. On the morning of April 18, 1906, a powerful 7.9 earthquake hit the city. Although the quake lasted for less than a minute, the impact from it was immediately felt, and it was especially disastrous. One of the main reasons why this particular earthquake was so bad was because the epicenter was located directly below the city, which is an incredibly rare occurrence. Buildings crumbled all over the city, and a massive fire broke out that burned for 3 days and destroyed somewhere around 500 city blocks. Even though there was a very fast response from the city's large military population, the earthquake and resulting fires took the lives of around 3,000 people and left half of the city's 400,000 residents homeless. In the middle of San Francisco was the ever-busy Market Street. In this first video, you can see what life was like. It was the turn of the century, where horse and buggy shared the street with automobiles. Gentlemen in top hats strolled along without a care in the world. That is, until the earthquake struck. The second video shows the same street after the disastrous quake hit and the fires burned. Very few of the buildings were left standing, but the ones that remained were badly damaged. As people walk by the camera, it is evident that they were still in shock at what was going on around them. It's a somber thought that many of the people in the video are walking around after just losing their homes. Few other natural disasters in American history have been as costly as the San Francisco earthquake of 1906. Earthquakes are definitely a scary thing to have to endure, but seldom can we develop a true appreciation for their power until we can see them for ourselves. To see more videos about natural disasters caught on camera, be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.